Hello, Marian, Jeff, welcome on in. How are you both? How was your day? How was your week? Usual questions. It's Friday. Just looking at the closed caption that said, "Hello, Jeff Pokemon." I don't know why. Fine. You're good? That's good. This is good? Then. Oh yeah, well, no, forget about it. Closed caption is weird. Closed caption is very weird. There are days where it works and there are days where it doesn't work. At least it doesn't work as well. How's the music level with the voice? But Marianne, how are you? How was your week? Because I haven't seen you in a bit. How have you been? All the questions. I discovered the thing with the filter. The disappointment from yesterday has been removed-ish a bit. We'll see. We'll see about it. Wait, what? Sorry, I was on the thing. Yeah, no, it shouldn't be loud music. I mean, usually it's not. Oh, it's here. Okay. It shouldn't be so loud. I mean, in terms of volume, I'm like at 20%, which is fucking low. But yeah. I was about to say something about the filter thingy. It's working, but it's weird. Erin, hi. Welcome on in. How are you? How have you been? How was your week? It's Friday. All that, you know. The usual. No Instagram story today, I guess. It's been good. That's good. I'm pretty good. I'm tired. That's the main thing. A lot of work today. Yes, this is the face of the day. I agree. This is definitely the face of the day. Yeah. I will do that. There are, things that didn't happen today. Let's say that this way. There are things that didn't happen today that should have happened that didn't happen, and that pissed me off. But that's fine. That's on me. So we can play with that. And because it's Friday, I have nothing planned really, like the usual. At least I fixed the transition. That was absolutely fucked yesterday. But yeah. I hope everyone is good. The main thing right now at this instant is I received an email from VBI, which is like affiliated, and it was the I closed my mail account, but they were saying something like, when was the last time you changed your stream overlay? In my head I was like, I don't know, yesterday. Probably yesterday, yeah. Uh, and then they say we are giving you specifically 40% off site-wide, and so you can take anything with 40% off, which is great, right? And then the first, I don't think they watch the stream or they do anything with my content in any form, but the first recommendation that they had or have is this, the Slate stream package, which is just funny to me. Just like, yeah, you targeted the right person with something that starts with Slate. It's just on point. But yeah, it's it's fun. But to be frank, this Slate thingy is looking very good. I don't really know how they work. That's the thing. I'm just opening this for the first time. It is minimal design, and it's interesting. There is the one-click setup, which is Slate also include an automatic scene installer, which is basically what I'm doing. Damn. That's interesting. That's really interesting. That gives me insight. The thing is, I can't like claim the ID, right? That's something that was existing before. But what it means is I need to download that and we need to test it out. Because zip insert in the file, drag into your C drive. So I believe the reason that they are saying this also interesting, because the documentation, how they will be doing the installation, could be very interesting to me as well. So we could, what a weird glitchy thing, we could take some information around here. So what that means is I need to buy this. I need to buy this. So in the custom built scene layout, that's the thing that is the most important or interesting to me. It's like they have basically blocks that are pre-made and that they can just move into a scene, and basically what it's doing, I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm like hypothetating right now. Basically what it's doing is creating, I believe it's a creator that is outside of OBS, and then when you click export, in a way, it generates an OBS friendly scene collection, or just scene, and it adds it inside of the current scene. It's not that expensive. It's more expensive than what I'm offering, of course, but it's not that expensive. But also, right, you see their prices, and I'm like right in the middle, so that's pretty good. That is pretty good. All screen have a resolution predefined. They have these things. So it's really fun that it's called Slate. First of all, it's really fun that now they have a scene installer, right? This is what I've been working on for the past month and a half, and I would need to buy this in order to see this, the scene installer thingy. So we might do that later, because we have 40% off. So basically the $40 go back to like 25 ish. That's pretty good. And then they have interesting looking, I don't know if that works, that doesn't work, interesting looking shapes and animations and fonts that they use. Like, this is pretty cool. I mean, pretty cool. It's just a video. It's nothing really different, but I don't know. Interesting. So we might buy that. We might buy that to see how they made their things, or find another stream package that also have the scene installer, because if they have made, or if they are making more, that's an interesting thing. And as always, if I have the ad blocker on, this thing is just dead. Yeah, I don't understand. They made the entire website behave like an ad, and so ad blocker is like, oh no, don't do that. Damn. So yeah, Slate is one of the latest thing. So I believe, or I would believe, Cascade would have the same thing. Enterprise didn't. If I remember correctly, Enterprise didn't. Let's see. They do have a thing that is similar-ish, but it's not the same way. The one-click setup is very different. Okay. We might need to watch this fucking video. That's a Vimeo thingy. I can't show you the video here. I need to go back on the PC. So that potentially you can have a bit of sound at the same time. Let's see. It's going to Slate, right? Because that's what we are interested in. I probably won't be able to zoom in, I was about to say, but no, I can, kinda.
Hey, it's Chris with Visuals by Impulse, and today we're going to be talking about how easy it is to set up VBI's one-click setup. Setting up alerts and widgets should not be hard. Yet, if you look in the wrong places, it can require a ton of work in the background to get them up and running. And we can see how that drives away new streamers or casual creators who may not be super techy. Luckily, there is an easy way to pick the right alerts and widgets. You don't need an advanced knowledge base to get started. All you need is a basic understanding of OBS and one click. And the best part about VBI's one-click setup is that it gives you way more.
Once again.
TG_Khalil raided my stream with 7 viewers.
Khalil, well, come on in. How was your stream today? I lurked in for like 30 minutes this morning when you started, and then I had too much meetings, couldn't say anything. But welcome on in, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. For anyone who doesn't know me yet, I'm amaright, the help designer of Twitch. So if you have any design question, feel free to ask them. I will do my best. We are working on a thing that's called clean slate, and I just received an email from VBI, which is a platform which is an affiliate. I mean, I'm kind of affiliated with them a bit, and they sent me 40% off on a thing called Slates. They have a one-click setup as well, so I need to check it out. Very much so productive. That's good. There has been good-ish. Lots of, how can I say that? Lots of work on a specific feature, which is pretty good, and yeah, a lot of thinking, which means that I'm kind of drained, a bit drained. But yeah, and Nana, welcome on in. How are you today? Happy to see that you probably stay in Khalil's stream from the morning till now, because I've seen you in his chat earlier. But yeah, welcome on in. And I absolutely forgot about that. Let's get rid of this. So yeah, so if you this tiny thing that I'm moving right now, if you type exclamation mark my face like this, it will change to your profile picture. So yeah, you can change the thing with your profile picture if you want to, if you have a profile picture. While we're doing this, so
more personalization features so you can make your widget or alert unique to your stream. And it doesn't matter where you're streaming at, Twitch, Facebook Gaming, or YouTube, it works for them all. Better yet, one-click setup works with your streaming software of choice as well, whether it be OBS Studio, Streamlabs, or Stream Elements. What is one-click setup and why do I need it? One-click is meant to save you time, energy, and the headache of manually installing widgets or alerts. It is now 2021 and it should not be an obstacle in today's day and age. In the past, setting up widgets and alerts was super time consuming and clunky. You had to upload each of your files one by one, and you didn't get as many options as you do with one click, but not anymore with one-click setup. Installing alerts and widgets is now simple and easy and on any streaming platform. With just a few clicks, all of your alerts and settings are automatically applied into your OBS software of choice. Now, most commonly, one-click is used for alerts, such as new followers, subscribers, cheers, raids, and hosts, but it also applies to widgets you can get from VBI as well. Widgets such as the Jelly UI, event lists, chat boxes, height meter, and even the all-in-one stream widgets can all be used by one-click setup. Now let's see how it all works. We're going to be using alerts for this example, but just remember it works for widgets as well. It's the same process. We're going to go through.
Okay, so from what I'm getting and understanding so far is mainly for browser sources. So basically what it can do, and one of the things that you can do with OBS, if your website has like a URL and you drag and drop a URL from like your browser or whatever inside of OBS understands it and then place the browser source on top of your screen. So if it's how it works, then that's absolutely not what I have, which is good. I mean, my thing is better, of course. But we'll see. We'll see what they come up with.
Through the setup process of Streamlabs, Stream Elements, as well as OBS Studio, and it's super easy to install one-click setup. All it takes is really 2 different steps. So the first step is using your one-click link, and depending on the link you chose, you're going to configure those alerts inside of your Streamlabs or your Stream Elements dashboard. And then once that's configured, we're going to set that up inside of OBS. We're going to start with Streamlabs. First, we're going to show you how to use one-click setup, and then how to actually configure your alerts inside the Streamlabs dashboard. And then after that, we'll go ahead and show you how to import those into your OBS. Once you have your download from VBI, we're going to go ahead and go into our folder. And from here, we're going to go to the one-click setups folder. Here, we're going to pick Streamlabs in this case, and then we're going to click on the Streamlabs alerts one-click setup. Once you do this, a dashboard should pop up and automatically install that into your Streamlabs for you. Once it's done loading, you'll see a page like this. We're going to go ahead and create a new one. You're going to need to give the widget theme a name, And then after that, you can go ahead and press create. And then once we're on this screen, we're going to click use next to the theme that we just made. So once you load into the dashboard, we'll go ahead and scroll down a little bit. We'll click on the follows tab for this example. We'll scroll down again. And as you can see, the one-click setup has already installed our files for us. If we scroll down even more, you'll see the HTML. We want to change this over to custom fields. This is where we're going to customize our new alert. So let's go ahead and change this up.
So just because it's Streamlabs is just behaving a bit differently, and from what I understand, it's just a browser source. So if we move a bit further,
URL. We're going to take this URL and import it as a browser source inside of OBS. So let's go ahead and open up OBS, and under the sources tab, we're going to add a new source. We're going to scroll up the browser. We're going to name this alerts and then press OK. In this URL tab, I'm going to paste the new URL inside of this, and then I'm going to press OK. Now, if we go back into our Streamlabs dashboard, we have a test button so we can test our new alert. So if we go ahead and test the follow button, we should see it pop up over here. We got the particle effects that we turn red, and then we have new member popping up. So everything is working nicely. Now let's go over one more.
I mean, that's not really a one-click setup to me. That's more like a it's more like a click to import and then do all your setup, and then you still need to import the browser source inside of OBS, which is like, seems, so far it took them 4 minutes of video to explain that, and they are experienced, they know how to do stuff. Yeah. We passed 900 yesterday. It was pretty good. Thank you. So yeah, you need to do all the setup right there, and then you move into OBS and you still need to import your browser source. The thing is, I don't exactly know how the thing that is above on the page, so this here, I don't know how this is working. Like, this is very interesting to me. I really need to I think I understand what they mean. When this, okay. I believe they have something similar to blueprints, by the way. I think I need to get rid of the face. I'm sorry. It disappeared. Let me just get rid of the commands, otherwise. Where is my face? There. Let's disable it for now. Yes. So let's open one of the slates on our side so that we can see the differences, right? Because that's the goal. We need to see. Have a good rest of your day. Okay, well, take care of yourself. If you have a drink, have a good drink. If you have a walk, have a good walk. Thank you for the raid again. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon. So let me just preface-ish something. The one-click setup that we are looking at right here is very interesting in terms of creating the overlay themselves. That's the main. I'd say that's the main goal, right? That's making sure that your alerts and all that things are ready, available, and easy to use. That makes sense. So in terms of stream package, even though I'm biased because I am like advertising for them most of the time, which is just on chat to message above, I still think what I'm providing is a tad bit better, but in combination with VBI, you get a killer like product, so I might need to go talk to them directly. We'll see about that. But on my side, what I get, so what you get when you buy a slate, you end up with this. So you get your slate number, right? That's so series 1 is 003, and then inside of this you have OBS that is already ready, and you have external which has everything that you need specific to your slate. So specifically here on Series 1 you have just StreamerBot and the plugin for the Stream Deck, which he already has, so we don't really need it, but in terms of giving it to more people would need that. But then in here you have the OBS thing, which is exactly the same thing that you would have if you install OBS on your computer for the first time. And then the thing that you get with what I'm providing is exactly this when it's loading. So you get like the zip file, everything inside, and then you get this. And this is your slate in which you have the need right here, for example, for what VBI is providing, basically. So you have browser sources that are waiting for you to be filling them. And if you do that correctly, then you get your entire slate, my side slate, with scene, pre-made, transitions, filters, all that shit. And the only thing that you really need to do is provide the content in the browser sources. So in this one, you have the chat here, and the doc. So what VBI is providing here with the one-click setup would be really interesting for something like the doc, for example. If you know that they have an alert pack that is very wide, it could be really interesting for you to just get the one-click setup, set up your thing, and just import it inside of the doc. Could be very good. So that's to be expanded upon.
More important step, we're going to pull up our dashboard again. We're going to make some changes to this new alert. Let's go ahead and change this back to blue, and then we'll change this back to new follower. When you make change, make sure you press OK. We'll go ahead and bring up our Streamlabs dashboard again, and if we press test follow, our changes to the alert should appear. New follower, and now we have those blue wisps right there. Next, let's discuss Stream Elements. First, we'll show you how to use one-click setup and then configure it inside of Stream Elements dashboard, as well as import it into your OBS and Streamlabs. All right, so back with our Stream Package folder, we'll go ahead and click inside of it, and then we'll go to one-click setup again. From here, we'll go ahead and click on Stream Elements, and then click our platform of choice. We're going to go with Twitch for this example. Once it's done loading up, it should automatically take you over to your overlay gallery, and you should see your alert right here. Next, we're going to click on edit, and it's going to take you into the editing UI. Once this is all loaded up, we can go ahead and click on alert box 1, and then we can go into our settings. From here, you have the option of configuring all your different events, but for now, we're going to use follower alert. Similar to the Streamlabs setup. Once again, we're going to go to browser. We're going to name this again. And then after you name it, go ahead and press OK. Same thing in the URL source. We're going to paste that new URL inside this slot and then press OK. And to make sure our alert works inside of OBS, we'll go ahead and grab our Stream Elements dashboard again, go back down to emulate, and we'll do that follower event once more. It should pop up right here. And as you can see, it's kind of chopped off. We'll go ahead and fix that right now. We'll go ahead and double click on our alert, and we're going to change the values of the width and height. So we're going to change these to 1920 by 1080. And then once you're done with that, we're going to press the OK button.
All right. Okay, good. So this one-click setup is not a threat at all. So that's good to know. That's good to know. But yeah, we kind of need to check it out. I might buy it later just to check how the section that is above-ish in slates works. Specifically this, I want to know. But what I think it is it's what I use as blueprints. So you get like an overall layout with the placement of the elements that you would need to use, and then it's a preview, and that way you can just align things in order for the layout to work in the end. I believe that's what it is, compared to what I have on OBS, which is directly giving you all the things you need. So we'll take a look at that later, I believe. But that was a fun email to receive just before the stream with something that is called Slate, and a setup that is similar to what we have. Automatic scene installer is like I don't exactly know how that works. That's what I need to follow. Not on Streamlabs. It's a dot overlay thing. I think that's a Streamlab element, the dot overlay. So yeah, they are doing the same thing. Okay, good. That's good to know. That's good to know. So they are doing a thing that is very similar, which is making sure that you have placed your root folder in a specific directory in order for the OBS scene collection to work. So that's what we fixed 2 streams ago with the PowerShell script. So that's good. We have that sorted, which is good. We then have the same stuff. So on their side, they import the scene collection. On my side, you don't have to, but we could do that at some point. We'll see. We talked about it before. We talked about it in the business model thingy when we said it could be interesting to have the Slate Zero as a free add-on and then have the scene collection importers to exist. But in order to do that, you lose the scripts, and I don't like this. So we'll see how we can fix that later on. But so you import your scene collection, right? And then you have everything at the ready, which is similar to what I have, named properly and all of that. So that's good. That's very, very close to what we provide. The difference is I provide scripts that are pre-installed, and they don't for now, which I think if I contact them, could be very interesting. Could be very interesting, like a collaboration in between the two of us. Could be pretty good. Could be pretty good. And this thing has been updated a week ago, which is interesting and good to know. And then there is no date for anything. But yeah, that's good. That's interesting. That's content, right? That's stuff that to be aware of, I guess. So that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. What happened? Yeah, okay, good. What else? I keep that open. Keep that open for sure. But yeah, I still recommend VBI to anything else, for anything else. Like if you need overlays, they're good. And you can use my code, give you 10% off, I guess. Depends on the day. They added this on all of the fling. That's pretty good. Yeah. This one got the same thing and it's $20. We might do that. We might do that. know what? Let me see. Check something real quick. Need to restart an app. But yeah, Nana, how was your day? How have you been? All that. Anyone else that just arrived with Khalil and still here? Didn't go away. Good. Almost. One second. Almost good. Yeah. I did good. I did good. This way. This way. This way. I think I need a fucking processing code again. Yeah, exactly. That's annoying. I don't like that. I don't like 2FA. It's just, I mean, it's useful, but it's annoying. It takes you away from what you want to do. Jeff, welcome back. Okay, good. Okay, good. Not okay, Google. Okay, good. Damn it. Sorry. And yeah, Jeff, I need to answer your question from yesterday, which is it's a pretty good question for anyone who wasn't here yesterday. I reworked a design from Jeff, and they had a question which is, I do prefer my design better than what you did, which makes a lot of sense. Okay, just needed that. Now that that's done, that's 1.3 gig. So if the stream is glitching, that's because there is a 1.3 gig download going on at the same time. So let me reopen the thing. What happened was, we started with basically this, not exactly this one, but basically this, in terms of layout and placement and everything. And I redesigned it to be like the thing on the left side, right? So this is the original. I'll take a look right after. This is the original, and this is what I came up with. I'm not entirely happy with the design that I came up with, to be honest, but I do understand why you would enjoy this one in terms of layout a bit more. And there are a lot of things that comes into why you enjoy it. First of all, you created it, so of course you have like an emotional link to it, even though it might be not big or big. You created it, so of course it makes sense that you prefer it in a bit. Then the content in the image that you have is cropped on my version, and so that makes sense that you would prefer your fruit is high, that you would prefer your version because you can see the entirety of the screenshot. So that's a good thing. And then from what I said earlier as well, earlier yesterday, your lecture path as a human is horizontal and vertical, but right now you don't have horizontal, so your eyes will basically do an L to read the card, and it makes a bit more sense. It's a bit easier to read, and then you have like this element. What I don't really like about this is you won't really have the same element in the same place depending on the description size. So if you end up with like another product that is just one line, your title is here. And then if you end up with a product that has a bit more of a description, your title end up right? So in terms of consistency of starting point of reading, you would have a bit of a gymnastic for the viewer to understand how, like, and where they need to read first, or where their eye needs to go. Usually after the third one, the eyes is like accommodated to the pattern. That's pretty easy. But if you showcase that in the first one, it's like picture, title, and then description. Then you have picture, title, and description aligned with the elements. It makes more sense for the human to like recognize the pattern. That's the main goal. In here, if you have a thing that is title in the middle of the card, or title in the lower third of the card, or another one which is title is at the bottom of the card, you will have a bit of inconsistency across the board. So if I was to do that, that's the thing. Right, to put you into the space, that's basically how things would work, even though the font would be this one. You can see how the inconsistency created a type of wave in the thing that you're reading, and so your eyes would be, okay, so around the personal thing, you would have the title, and then you go here and you get the description instead of the title, which is above. So you say, okay, so sometimes the title is on the thing or here, and then you go here and you go in between the two and you have the icons and your title is at the bottom. So like creating confusion. but if you manage to get at all times 3 lines of text, no more, no less, then it's good. You don't need to change the thing on top or anything, right? But that's also one of the reasons why the first thing I did when I played with this was to revert your spacing and put it on top. That, like, just align everything and make sure that it will always be at the same place. And then the content can be longer, but in the way that you read the title, and if your title is 2 lines, you know that after your title comes your description at all times, always. And so if it's 2 lines, 1 line, 3 lines, you don't really care, right? But yeah, that's the big thing. So what you did, oh, you changed a lot. So that's the same thing. That's the same issue, because you have your thing at the bottom. That's the same issue. I like that you changed the contrast ratio, basically here. And Fruitus, I will answer your question right after. I've seen it. And yeah, a bit slimmer. Same thing as yesterday. You have 30 here and 40 here. Try to be consistent, coherent in your placement. To make sure that you always have, like right here you have 40-40. If you could have 40-40 on this thing as well, that would be pretty good. So what you did is you changed for an even darker, an even darker background, which makes everything pops more, which is pretty good. And you decided to go with the previous one as the background of the cards, which is pretty good. So I like this. I would still, however, revert the icon and the titles and content for the same reason, right? Getting the pattern being understood, unless you are 100% sure that you can manage to have only 2 lines in one line for the titles, 2 lines for the description. That would yeah, the background here, yes, but the background of the card is darker. Background here is darker as well. And so you decided to go with something different, right? And this something different is basically the gradient. I do not, Fruitus. I mean, mentoring is here, right? That's, you ask the question, I give you the answer that you're looking for. Right here for free. It's pretty good. So you went for gradient on top of content, and this works in a small, like in a very limited amount of situation. Then difficult. Then difficult for this. But yeah, gradients are difficult to manage because the content behind it. So let me rephrase that so that you can understand. What I'm about to say is mainly applicable inside of companies and agencies. Currently, what you're doing is for your own portfolio, so you don't really care about that. But just to keep in mind, gradient on top of pictures is always a bit difficult because you never know what type of picture the client will potentially take and put behind the gradient. So it's a bit difficult, and also the amount of gradient that you put it here has, like, it's a lot. And also you did it the wrong way. Yeah, okay, good, you did it that way. That makes sense. That's an interesting way of doing it. But I get it. I get it. So if I do that, if I do this, makes more sense. Aiden, hi, come on in. So the way that you would do it in Figma directly is from here, you take the picture. What happened? And then here in your field, you just add a field. And said field, you take the color of the thing, you get the linear gradient, make sure that it is at the middle point right there, and then you place it whichever way you want, right? So right now, placed it straight behind it, and then you can, if you want to, get some steps. Sonera, hi. Oh, you changed your color. No, you changed your color on OBS, but you still haven't selected the color. Good. What is your confusion, Aiden? I want to know. I want to know. Aiden, this is a very dev thing to say, right? It's broken, but it still works, and I don't know why. That's a very dev thing to say. In these cases, I usually say, if it works, it works. Don't worry about it. So, if you want to have this as a component, which is the case right now because I duplicate your thing, you will, oh, also, why does this move? For no reason. Okay, good. In terms of componentize, you say how to make that a component while there are different number of icons being used in the instance. Yes. So the thing that you do usually here is you put your icons, you put your icons directly, like your options. So let's say you have the maximum type of icons that you would have would be 4 different things. You put everything here, right? And so currently there are 8, I think 4 would be good. And then in your instance, you would say, right, so I don't need this one or this one, and it's just stack itself to the side. So if we were to do something a bit more natural-ish to very much see the differences in between the icons, let's do something that is very ugly, but that way we know maybe this one is a bit not good. Right, so that way you can see this is something that exists. And so if you duplicate this one and you just revert to the base and say, well, on this project, I don't need Figma, I just need this one, right? So you just have the orange one. So that's basically how you would do it if you need a different number of icon in instance and everything. So you just hide, and because there are instances, they are still present. So if at some point your project evolves and then it comes from Figma to code, you can just reactivate the thing. They are like inside, like this one, for example. And then in terms of your picture, it's the same thing. You select the thing here, and then you go choose a picture somewhere. I mean, not the GIF, because that would be fucked, but right. And you make it fill, for example. And so now I have one that has my logo in it. And then let's say I need a second one. Then inside of this one, we don't have that, but we have this one and this one. And the picture is something different. So you go to my old profile picture, right? So you see how very easily I can have like a lot of different variation of the same thing without having to good job, Aiden, without having to think too much about it. But yeah, the gradient will deter your overall like well-being of a picture. So I don't really know if I would recommend it, but I don't know. Yes. So you could. The radial gradient here give you a little bit more space for the text at the bottom to make it a bit longer if you needed to. That's why I made it. Basically, this one and this one needs to be fill-in container, and then U needs to be like that, basically. But yeah, just think. So you said there were to know how many users installed certain app in my city or country. Specifically in your city or country, maybe some, like you said, like how many people you see in the, maybe they have like reports and you can check them out, but I doubt it. What you can do is go in the App Store and see the number of downloads. Sometimes they are useful, but that might not be location based. But a lot of people find the data, so it's accessible somewhere for sure. And then this section needs to be space between, and we can put that at 14. I would very much do that. Interesting. That fucked the thing over, probably, yeah. No good. You can do that, but oh, yeah, that makes sense. One of the issue of Figma currently is you can't really define the order of things. You just need to believe that it will work, and it doesn't. Like, you can see that the T of management just disappear. So that's no good. But yeah, it's weird anyways. Well, I like the idea of the card. I just don't know about the rationale behind the linear right here. It makes a bit of sense, but not enough for me to be like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. And also it doesn't really do a great job if the background is very light, like this one. Like it looks looks better on these ones, and you can see like the transition right here. And on your side, in order for you to not have this, you made the gradient very, very heavy on top. So like the content is mainly a texture of the background, which if that was the case, I would rather do something like this. Like having this on top of everything, instead of having it crop, making it feel, so you have like something, and then you can get rid of that whole section right there, and make sure that this here is like filling the container, and then the background itself, you already have the color, so you put it on top, and then you can add like a linear gradient that goes through the thing, maybe, if that's a thing that you wanted to do, or you can just keep it solid and just have it with like a bit of opacity, so somewhere around here potentially. And then if you keep all bright white, which doesn't seems to be 100% white for some reason, right? That doesn't. But you have like a texture in the background instead, so that could be a thing. So let's change that just to test. Put the screen. Right, that's also an interesting cards type, I believe. It depends on the amount of transparency that you put. So right now I put 88%, and 88% is pretty okay. It really depends on the picture that you put behind. But the thing that I usually do is to test. I create just a square, make it white, and I do Command Option C, which copy as a PNG. So that way I have like an image right here, and then I copy that and I paste it. I put it behind just to see. And so right now what I have is this with this, which is basically the worst case scenario. And you can check the contrast ratio in between this and this, and usually you get a pass. If you're like at 80% of your base color, and your base color is pretty dark, you're pretty good, you can get rid of that. So yes, it creates a bit of noise and doesn't really help the readability if there is a lot of noise behind it, but most of the time that would be good. And it creates an interesting overall interesting like texture to the card, rather than having a plain thing with a gradient. I have a thing against gradient. If you haven't picked it up yet. Not like them. But that's also a thing. And what did we say? Fill container. Right. That's the same thing. It's basically the same thing. So if you have this 3, like here, 40 behind it, then you select this. Right, that's the color that you had. It creates the same thing, basically. You have your title that are not exactly in the same place. So I like what you did with the cards. That let's be clear with that. I like what you did with the card. I think it's slimmer and a bit more readable in terms of like accessibility. You still have pop-ins, but you used Atkinson for the text, which is good. Seke, hi, welcome on in. Well, like, what are you working on? Damn it. We're working on Jeff right now. That's what's happening. Yes. Did you come with the raid? It's okay. I'm still like not sure about the gradient, and then as well you have the placement of the thing. I didn't. I feel like you either have a delay or do you want to see something fun? It's okay. I received an email from VBI, which of course when I'm talking about that they disappear, and the email said we have 40% off site-wide if you want, and we are recommending to you this pack, which is pretty nice, pretty named. And then when we clicked on it and we checked some of the stuff, they have a new scene builder that has basically what I'm trying to do, and they encountered the same problems. So like all the documentation here is the same thing. Like make sure that you have on the C drive, because they use the C drive, I use the G drive and all that shit, but they use scene collection imports rather than giving you everything. So that's interesting. That's another way of working, which is pretty good. It might be the way that I end up doing things because it's way slimmer on your downloads, but we'll see. So I bought one of their thing that is cheaper and has the same thing installed, so that will arrive. Shyam, hi, welcome on in. How are you? I'm pretty good. I am pretty good. Thanks for asking. So yeah, Jeff, that's some of the thing I would do, but also to answer your question about why you prefer yours. As you said, ego takes a big part of it, but also readability is interesting, and the content that you're displaying in terms of the screenshot. Makes sense. But then in your new version, you have less. So, I don't know. Yeah, ego. Make sure, however, that your card, your image in your card is not stretched. Right now, and if so, none of it. Well, I will show it back. Give me a second. Like, make sure instead of crop, make sure it's like fit, or I mean, preferably fill, because that way it doesn't stretch itself. If you want to do crop, make sure that it's like specific and hold the shift key in order to move it in a vertical or horizontal way, but that it doesn't go outside of the track. Just to make sure that you always have the content that you need, and never, if you can, never do this, because I think that's what happened on your side. And that's a bit better. So, it's okay. I said they recommended this as a package to me, the man who is creating slates. And then inside of it, they have a thing that they call use one of the slates pre-built layout, which is pretty fun. And they have an automatic scene installer that is doing the same thing as the clean slate project. And as always, I'm not coining the idea. I knew the idea existed before, but yeah. And so in the scene installer, they have the same thing. They just give you, like, you need to put it and extract it in a specific drive, like the C drive. And when you do that, then you're good, because now we will have the path that we need to have inside of what can I say? Inside of OBS and all that shit. So I don't know if it has a bunch of neat transition, and to be frank, we need to test it out. So I duplicate. Maybe stream will freeze a bit. I may, yes, but sometimes I'm frank. Depends on the day, you know. The usual. Is it a good idea for me to have like your slate open and trying to duplicate a slate and having the stream running and thinking about extracting a slate somewhere else? That will be weird. So if I don't extract it on C, this is a thing that I don't understand with Windows. Like, I have never understood why this shit right here is not like at peak performance the whole time, or at least at 50% of the perf at all times. Like, it makes no sense that you have the ability to go that high, and then at some point you would just have like a fucking spike, and then it goes down, like right now. See that? I mean, you can't see that there was a fuck in the middle, No, it's at fucking 0. Like nothing happened. It's annoying. Like, I'm not paying for an SSD that has the capacity of doing like 13 gigs a second to get an extract at 100 kilobytes a second. Like, it's makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. But yeah, no, yeah, but it's the same. I'm paying like a 300, kind of $200 CPU on top of the $100. Right? Look at that shit. What is that? Why it wasn't at 50 megabytes per second the whole time? I've been done by now. Fuck that shit. So that's Slate 4 basically. And so we have shader filter, OBS Studio, all that shit. The stream is writing to the disk at the same time. Why? No, stream is not writing to the disk. It's another drive. It's another drive. I mean, nothing. Kinda. I mean, this drive is non-existent, so it makes no sense to me. Nonetheless, let's see the download folder. Let's not do that. Let's click there instead. Yeah. I could, yeah. Oh, it didn't work before? That's fucking annoying. See, that's much more better. Much more better. So OBS Studio, bin 64. I think it will be fucked in its placement, but that's good with me. Why do you want to use OBS Virtual Cam though? Oh yeah, I forgot that. Sorry. We say OBS Studio assets. What the fuck did I click on? Metrics. Metrics. Call out. That shit. Yeah. And then that's images. Do I care? No. Apply. So that's slate 0. We don't really care about that. Missing something. So let's import. You can't see shit, not placed properly. I mean, you can see that, that's fine. Let's import the thing that we talked about just to see. Just to see. Enterprise animated, still assets. Fuck, it doesn't exist. Should have bought the other one. Or is it like sci-fi? The entire thing? I don't know. Backgrounds. They say it exists, but it doesn't exist. Damn. Depends. It's okay, it depends. what's your budget? What? Let's not do this one here. Cheapest that not shit. What's your I'm looking around because I know I have mic arm somewhere. What mic will you use? Damn, that took me a long time. Siren Mini? Okay, so you could take forgot where I put it. I cleaned the house like 3 weeks ago, and now I'm lost. Forget about it. So the Ryzen Siren Mini is light enough for you to be able to buy the cheapest $13 boom arm on Amazon. That will be enough. It will squeak a bit if you need to move it around, but it's great. I have 2 of them, which currently I can't find for no reason. I don't know where the fuck I put them. Oh, I put them there. Okay, yeah, they are in the ceiling. I mean, damn it. They are in the. I mean, they are in the. Before the in between, forget about it. Damn you! Doesn't work. So. These ones, for example, they have a copy of it's the road that I have. It's the PAC one, which is also now the PSA 1 Plus. So it's this one. It's fucking expensive. You shouldn't buy this. It's great, but you shouldn't buy it. But yeah, like a thing like this one, which is mimicking the PSA one, like clamp thingy. Also, it has like a holder for your headphones. That's the goal of those things. But the one that we had. This one with this clamp right here, which is flat on the top and metal at the bottom. The only thing that is a bit annoying with these types are the fact that the mic is outside of the table compared to these ones, which put the weight of the mic on top of your flat surface. So that makes more sense. And then like they are fucking $30. You could get a clamp like this one, like if you wanted to. It's the same shit. like you could get one of these clamps for 16, and then one of the cheapest one that you just put inside. It would work. I have no idea. This is a copy of the newest version of the Evermedia arm, so I don't know if I would trust it yet. It hasn't been out for long enough for me to make sure, like, say that the copy are good enough yet. But yeah, like, take the cheapest one that we saw earlier, like the 16. There was one with $16. But yeah, like one of these, right? 28. I mean, it's 28 on my side, so I should probably look on CA rather than me. I take one of these, the cheapest you can find, like this one, 16, and then you take just the base, which we saw earlier. Pot, hi, welcome on in. How was your co-working Discord sessions today? I mean, like, this is pushing. It's okay. The thing that I would say is, if for the weight of the mic that you would have put on, if the arm is too strong, you will always have the mic just go up on your face. Like, you will tap it and it will just do that, right? So having a mic that is that light means that if you have an arm that is not heavy duty, that would be much better. Yeah, it's the Ibaraki shirt. It's pretty good. Received it yesterday. It's great. I mean, not yesterday, 2 days ago. It's from Matt Heafy from Trivium. I mean, Ibaraki, but yeah, same person anyway. So yeah, don't spend too much. If you like, I know you like me, you are like me, and you're like, I want a thing that is quality, but it's no need. Like, just the clamp right here is good enough, right? Like, if you can just find this clamp thingy and then you just put the arm inside of it. If you already have an arm, yeah, you have an arm. Yeah. So if you found the clamp, GG, that's enough. Like these, 17, which is pretty good. And then if you want to have, like, let's say you bought this one, if you want to have more like safety for your desk, you can just put a tiny piece of silicone in the metal section at the bottom, or if you have like a piece of cardboard would work, or like if you have this, if you have thing to clean your glasses, this is a great dampener in the middle. If you also have like some felt coins to put on, like at the feet of chairs and sofas and all that shit, could put that as well. It's a bit annoying because it will slide if you don't tighten up enough, but yeah. But if you have like a silicone pad or if you have like an old pool beanie, you know, the cap, the pool cap with like silicone thingy, and you just cut a square on it, it'd be good. And you'd be good. Yeah. I don't know. We never know. Facebook Marketplace. Always available. Free tips. Welcome back. So I might need to buy another thing then. That's pissing me off. We'll see what we do about that. But yeah, Pot, you didn't answer. How was your day? How is your day going? If I do that and that, does it auto apply the thing? Yeah, but if you like have one that is unopened, not secondhand, like let's say your dad bought 8 of them because he thought that you would need that much for school, and then you finished the year and you used 1 on the entire year, so you're like, you know what, let's resell these unused swimming caps, right? Makes sense. That happens. So Jeff, I hope that answered your question earlier question. Just checking something on VBI at the same time to make sure that it works. Good. Fruitus, how are you? You good? How was your day? Oh shit. Please. Oh, fuck off. Yes, you asked that question. I forgot the question. Damn, earlier I said I didn't forget, and then what happened? I fucking forgot. Sorry. Yes, you should learn the entirety of the Apple guidelines at some point before that you do any app design on iOS. No, we don't really care about that. So I'd say read, not before, but like during your creation of iOS apps and Android apps and mobile app in general, make sure that you understand the patterns and the behavior that iOS are demanding of you and that Android are demanding of you. So the website that I shared on Discord yesterday, the fuck are they here? Yes, yesterday, this morning, yesterday, the material design links, which is just the material.io, right? So far so good, and the m3.material.io, which is basically how to use material design in situation. Read that as well as the human interface guidelines. The annoying thing about the human interface guidelines website is it's trash. It's not made for users, and it's not made to be discoverable in any ways. So it's annoying. But here it's much better. Like the Android one is way better. You can understand most of the thing. Like you have information about a ton and a half of content in here. I'm like rereading it because this is the M3, the newest version of Material U, and I'm reappropriating this. Well, most of the best practices for accessibility are the same. The changes in like guidelines are usually growing with what people are coming up with, like from everything. So I would say if you are comfortable with reading it like a book, like starting with Android 12 and like reading everything that is linked to Android 12 and then moving to getting started and understanding how things work and all of that shit, if that works for you, do that. If you are more looking for a specific thing, like, I don't know, let's say you are looking to understand dark theme, then you read this one, which is based on dark theme, and then you get the informations and all the things that you need, and that's all. And then you continue designing your thing, and then maybe at some point you're like, you know what, I need to know about input fields, right? So you go back to the website, you look for input fields, you learn about them, and yeah. Oh, you mean with the siren? Yeah. And yes, the Material Design 3 Material U is much better, is more interesting than Material Design in general. The first one, because it's like interesting-ish, more interesting. But it's really accessible. Like you can see this shit, like this button, the edit button is damn big. Like usual material is like 56 by 56. This looks like 72. Knowing the space. Yeah, that's 72 exactly. Damn. Sometimes I'm good. Yeah. I think it's 48 on Android, but 44 on iOS, or it's the opposite. I think for once Android is requiring bigger tappable area, which is weird. I mean, weird. Different. But yeah, they are big buttons. So that's why we went for 48 on our like style guide for mobile, and I mean mostly everything. But for 48, that way we clean. It will work at any time. But yeah, it's pretty good. So Fruities, the thing that I would say is learn from design systems that are available to you. So you can go to designsystem.com. As always, it's one of the great-ish resources that you can have access to, giving you free stuff, right? Like access to free accessible content. So for example, you have all the repo that are available on Figma, for example. So you could like just duplicate the thing. Like if obviously when I click on something it doesn't work. But yeah, for example, the Salesforce, shout out to someone in the chat without naming who it is. Salesforce 1 is available, and you have access to their components. The only thing I don't like about this is the fact that you don't have the documentation with it. You just have the components, which makes it not a design system. It just makes it a component library. So, right? Yeah, I think there is another one for design system, like design system repo or something. That is kind of more available, up to date potentially. I don't know. But yeah, you have things at your, like, you can access to, and most of it is free. And similarly, do I have the fucking thing? I don't. Damn it. Oh. Brain didn't work. Tools of design, same shit. Great resource. And they give you also like information about style guide and design system and shit in all of that. Have a good nap. Family dinner, that's big. But yeah, have a good nap. My favorite still stay to this day Spectrum, the Adobe design system. So what I was about to say is your goal is not to use the design system. Your goal is to, Scott, hi, welcome on in. Your goal is to understand the design system and then use your knowledge in order to get Ashley, hi. Did you come in with the raid and didn't say hi? I see. So the main thing with the Spectrum, that's why I love it, is the documentation. So if you go into component or content or whatever, but component specifically, and you are looking for inputs, and you are like looking for, I don't know, pickers in general, you have this page which give you a ton and a half of informations. It's okay. It's okay. I appreciate you being lurking, nonetheless. But welcome on in, both of you. So you have like the information of the anatomy of a component and what things are named, which is pretty important, and then the options of how they should be used. But also you have the thing to not do, usually around here, right? So they say in the guidelines, specifically for here, you should always have a label on top. Without a label, it doesn't make any sense in our design system. So if you follow these recommendations and like make sure that at all times the drop-down menu always have the same value in height, like in the selection that you can have, all that shit. If you understand like the recommendation, the do's and don'ts for using a specific component or like UI style, it's basically learning the how to create. So I would recommend you to learn that and then apply your learnings inside of a Figma file. But yeah, Spectrum is great. Spectrum is great. And so that's one that you just learn from by reading. So it's the same thing as the Material UI thingy. You just read like a book, as you said. But the other one that I shared earlier, the one that are available on Figma, you can really easily just go for taking the thing and making it work. Like as you said, you just enable like it as a library and you recreate a screen. It's interesting. So you get the latent French accent in the background. That makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, I hope that helps. I need to download the thing on the other side. Does it work? Yes, it does. So, looks like that song. I was about to do something. This? Yes. 1 second. I mean here, by the way. That seems kind of familiar. Why? If I'm not looking at the right thing, will help. That won't help. For app builders. Successful mobile app. Interesting. It's basically screenshots of apps and yeah. Creating content on Powder, which is a pretty interesting thing. You have a screenshot of everything. And that way you have the flow and you understand how things work. That makes sense. So it's similar to Mobbin, which is a similar service, but the service is not free. So if this is free, use it as much as you can before they decide to not make it free anymore, which probably will happen if we follow the rules. 1 second. Makes sense. It is. No one is. I mean, is it legal to what? Legal to make it paid or legal to make it free? Because yes, the app is available if as long as the app is free to use, then taking a screenshot of it is legal. That's not really. You shouldn't really care about it. Damn it. That's pretty good. I will keep that on my tabs. Let's see. Does that work now? On the other side. So, I don't like them, but they are interesting. That's the thing. It's a way of getting the information that you would otherwise get if, like, you would have access to the physical version of it. And sorry. So it makes sense, right, to have the digital version of the conference being a bit more popular than the non-digital version, because, well, you get access to the conference without having to move, which makes sense. But slate animated, that's the base thing, right? But I don't know. I don't like the. I don't like. I'm not a big fan of the digital version of conferences, because you are most likely missing out on a lot of stuff if you are just in the digital version of the conference. I need to have this open on the side. Let's see. That's what makes a lot of sense. Missing a ton and a half of content, but do we have? We don't. Okay, good. Nino, hi, welcome on in. Camera. The way that they set it up is pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't care about. I mean, that's a very specific thing. I don't really care about networking in conferences, but that's what it's used for. That's the only only real interesting use case of a conference, physical conference. It's the connection you can make on the spot. Whereas on a digital version of, like, config, for example, you are missing on the potential connection, and the only connection that you will have is the amount of people in chat that will say, we should connect, we should connect, we should connect, we should connect, and then spamming their LinkedIn profile, or spamming you on LinkedIn, which is, right, it's the way that things should be, but it makes no sense. And I'm like receiving so many demands on LinkedIn on the daily, maybe not on the daily, on the weekly, of people who are like, we should connect. You seem to have a similar interest with me. We should connect. And basically in digital conferences, you get that like every 15 seconds there is someone that says that. It's, yeah, I don't know. Unless I know you, or you are working in a very interesting company and I'm like, you know what, that could be interesting. Yes, but other than that, yeah. Why though? Because I don't fucking know you. If you're like just asking to connect on LinkedIn, I'm like, the benefits for me to connect with you on LinkedIn is having another connection on LinkedIn that I will never talk to. I can't. I could, like, we check. If you work at Google, I wouldn't even understand why you click on my profile. That's the thing. I mean, of course I would understand. No, I'm like, I don't know. Let me check. I have the trick from Zender on Memorizely that like recommend you to have an emoji in your name to see if it's an automated message or no. And like, I don't want to, I mean, I kind of want to, but something like this, right? This is an automated message. Like, they have never seen my profile in a million years, and they are just picking up name is this, and so there is the emoji in front that tells them, oh yeah, this is their name. They have an emoji in their name. Like, it makes no sense. So do that if you want to get rid of bots. Yeah, so that's some of the weird thing. So I mean, I would recommend the conferences because I know that Figma will announce something interesting, but right now this year is like 2 days long of announcement and knowledge, which basically there is the opening keynote on day 1 and opening and closing keynote on day 2. And that's the only thing that is interesting. The rest will be available on YouTube later on, and I would rather prefer to be watching it on YouTube, having the ability to like make it go faster, because speakers are speaking slowly, me included. It's yeah. Like, for example, right now I'm on LinkedIn and I'm seeing someone that is part of the community here that we have gotten raids from, that I've been in their stream, and I could click on connect, but the connection doesn't make any sense on LinkedIn anymore. So it's the same thing. So yeah. Samuel, hi, welcome on in. Yes, viewer can ask questions, but if the organizer deemed your question not good enough, they will not ask them. And I don't know, with the amount of people who will be in the conference, the likelihood of your question being read or seen is close to 0. So I don't know. Like, don't go there to get some question answered, right? Go there to learn the new feature that they want to implement inside of Figma, and potentially if there are very specific topics in the speech, then yeah, go listen to that. But same, like I won't. It's not. It's next. It's in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's in May, beginning of May, 10, 12, something like this. I guess. Yeah, 10, 11 of May, yes. So, right? You get the entirety of the speech that I recorded, posted a bit later, like 2 months later, I think, or months later, based on the dates, and you have the entirety of the content without having to create an account on the conferencing app, log in there, and get harassed by the chat. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. The app that they are using, the website that they are using is great. It's amazing in terms of organizing the conference and everything, but it just makes no sense. Just do the same thing that Apple is doing. For example, the conference of Apple are great because they are pre-recorded, not live, and the video is just playing at the moment. I did, Jeff. I did. Like the video is playing from the moment it's supposed to play to the moment it's supposed to end, and then that's it. It's a semi-live thingy, and it's interesting. I don't know. I think it's a bit better to use like this. Yes, if you want to learn Figma from scratch, you just go there. Basically go on the YouTube channel and you will have tiny nuggets of things to understand how Figma works in video format. If video format is not your jam, you also have their website on figma.com. If you don't have an account, you will end up with the landing, which I clicked on the wrong thing right now. Right here, I think you have learning or something. I forgot where it is. In the blog or in the help center? Help center, probably. Yes. And in here, like, you can learn how to use Figma. Which is pretty good. If you go here, you will have the thing in written format, and then I think they also like direct you to video from time to time. Yeah. For this, I don't have a lot of experience with SF symbols. I think it's behaving like a software because it's like a software. They did it like a Nucleo. So it's basically... But I don't like it because it's a fucking font and it makes no sense. If it was me, which is the case, it's me recommending you to do something, I would just go in the community and look for SF symbols, and you will probably find someone they are probably not, Jeff. Probably not. Might be, but probably not. Like, this person seems to have the San Francisco symbols at the ready. Have a good pizza pickup. And yeah, that would be much faster for you to understand through this. So if you just take this Figma file, you put it in as a library in your Figma account, and then you have access to the SF symbols, right? Mr. Whiskey Smooth, hi, welcome on in. And Jeff, a lot of things that are giving you as tips are not in the regular Figma learning stuff. But I read it take sips, so that's good. Yeah, they are not directly inside of this, but you get interesting stuff nonetheless. I wouldn't say they go as deep as me in some of the topics. Looking at the bottle on my left. So yeah, and then here you have a lot of very, very tiny like video of how to do stuff very quickly. So that's the best thing. And then Samuel, as always, best resource is myself. If you have questions, ask the questions. I will answer them, give you all the information. I know I but I will do Figma Basics after the conference in May. So probably conferences like 10, 11, and the next week or the next day, depending on how many changes there will be. I will go back to my initial series of Figma Basic that just goes over the entirety of Figma and how it works, what you can do, what you can't do, what you can expect to be able to do in the beginning, not in the beginning, all that shit. So that will happen. So Cookie Crystal is looking for, or was looking for that. I don't know if she will learn stuff before I do that, but yeah, a small bug like a ladybug or code bug. There's some bullshit in there. I don't. Oh yeah, someone recommended in Nutties. I mean, it's a bug. If it's a ladybug, it's a bug. It's just a flying bug. Oh yeah. On Fira code, yes. I mean on Fira, on the here. It's not really a bug. It just doesn't display this one because it's not an emote but an emote at the same time. And so I think it's behaving as Twitch emoji and not Twitch emotes, which is a bit different, and that's why it's fucked. So yeah, some people recommended me to check out again Touch Designer, which is really good for real-time interactions. So they recommended Nutty specifically, but take it on me. I don't know if that's something that I could work with. Maybe at some point, yeah. We'll see. Touch Designer is cool, but it's just a bit complicated. A tad bit complicated. So we'll see. I keep it there. But yeah, through this I hope that helps and answer your question about San Francisco symbols. That it will be easier to understand now. And people have more. Turns out some people have more than what is there. I don't know. Have no clue. Damn it. Click the wrong button again. So, going back to the thing that we were talking about earlier, which is here, and I closed it because I'm dumb. The stream package on VBI that I just bought again. The thing that they give you when you get the scene collection is the scene collection with the transition being Stinger's transition, which makes sense, and it's way easier to have Stinger's transition rather than what they are trying to, like what I'm doing, because I'm doing plugin transition. Yeah. The only thing that is annoying with their thing, with their slates, is you have to put the thing directly in C, in the C drive. So, and then you can't move it. So it's not really a portable option. That's interesting. That's to be checked, to be honest. Well, I will do a deep dive in it this weekend probably to see if it works, how it works, how things are made now that I have everything bought. And yeah. Nino, I just read your message because I think my brain read different words without understanding what you were about to say, or what you was saying. Oh, but yeah, rice pudding. I don't know if I like that. I know that what I ate today wasn't that good. I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to enjoy it. Yeah. I had a thing in mind, but I forgot what it is. Yeah. Makes no sense. All right. That's another option. I didn't think about that. It would be way easier for me to download the thing from the Mac rather than from the PC, because the PC is streaming at the moment, and so if I'm downloading from them, then dumbass me. Dumbass me. But VBI is great. I recommend at all times. Really recommend. I still don't know if I want to. I kinda do. Yeah, dumbass me, yeah. Don't think that's a good idea, but like aligning everything. It is weird. But I like the idea of. So basically, we talked about it yesterday. Basically, this thing would be the equivalent of this section here. So you would have the placement of elements across the screen. So basically, like it is, so camera would take the most space, because that's usually what's happening. And the only thing that I don't like about this idea is the fact that it basically gets rid of some of the elements that are important-ish, or I need to create specific transition for some of the elements. And some of the elements that I'm talking about are the chat, Spotify, and some of the things that I want to have. So because we take this from the Apple Keynote overlay, it could be interesting to have some metrics while we are in the hub. Could be interesting. So for example, the 2 out of 20, by the way, if you're here and you enjoyed the stream, feel free to click the follow button. That will be appreciated. But yeah, like the 2 out of 20 could be somewhere in one of these cubes, potentially squares. I don't know. What do you mean, ID? Idea? Yeah. Nah. Nope. CRH Studios. Hi. Well, come on in. I'm pretty good. I'm a bit tired. I have to say, I'm a bit tired. Idea? I don't have the reference. I'm too old for that. Way too old for that shit. Damn. Duh. Okay, that makes sense. But how are you, CRH Studio? How who are you? And how did you find the stream? I'm interested. But welcome on in nonetheless. The fuck is that? Yeah, today was a pretty good day. A lot of work done, at least. And a bit of progress in all that. But I see the studios at the back of your name, and I'm assuming design studio, potentially design studio. So these two, and this. Two. Right, that's the base of everything here. So you and you filling container. You're just being weird, good. That's fine by me. You and you and not you but you filling container. Meaning that now if I take you and you and make it, oh shit, I make you not layout frame, browsing Twitch, damn, that's not happening often. Welcome on in, appreciate you being here. So that would be more in line with what I have as an overall layout, right? Makes more sense. What happened to you, Jeff? What is the meaning of all this? I think 40 is the meaning of all this. Okay, damn it. Are you a designer by any chance, or a developer, or an artist, or someone else? Something else? Oh shit. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. Working with OBS is very interesting, and I talked about it before. It is the most challenging the most challenging app I've had, and thinking about a lot of stuff at all times, specifically in OBS. And so because I like to solve problem and figure out how to do things, OBS is really weird. And so we are working on a project called Clean Slate, which is giving you the ability to buy like pre-loaded OBS installs for Windows only for now. I'm trying to see if I can make it work on Mac, but I think it's too difficult for me specifically. But yeah, so you get like a zip with OBS, with plugins, transitions, scenes, all that shit pre-installed, and you don't need to do anything else than link your sources. That's the best stuff. The best stuff. I guess. I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying to myself. But 32, 32, 30. Damn it. 32. That's unaligned. One aligned elements. So if we have 32 all around, I guess the 32 background is making a lot of sense. Yes, that makes sense. Okay, good. So we have this. I feel like the stroke is not... Yeah. Radius should be 32 as well. Not even? The fuck are you saying? Oh, it's... should be 64 here, yes. Even though the outer layer doesn't exist per se, but we have the thing. Yeah, but that's good. I mean, most of the thing I learned on the internet, so even though I've been working for 16 years, it's everything I learn on myself, on my own. So enthusiast is good. I was enthusiast at some point, right? That's what happened. And then I turned it into a career. That's usual. So you could have... Oh, that would be amazing if that was an option. So let's think about stuff, shall we? If you have a collection like this one, which is absolutely not what you would get, but the usual stuff is data. Damn it. Data is white, background is black. Can get rid of that. PC is blue as well because it's a capture. Capture are blues. Both of them are blue. Should be blue. And then I'm missing a lot of elements. So most likely, I have chat somewhere, which is here, and chat should be great. That's the stuff. I guess starting text, BRB text, basic text shouldn't be. Like I should just have a text element. Just take a bit of space, and then metrics can be here, for example. So metrics are yellow. You can see the thing at the bottom. What else I'm missing? I'm missing Spotify.
CRH
sure.
Studios is now following.
Thank you for following. I appreciate it. Highly appreciate it. So let's go midpoint here. Vertical. Filling container. Both of these filling container and filling container. I said filling container too much. Makes sense. Spotify is the other green. So the Mac and PC should have the same importance, basically. That would be dumb of me to say they don't. So let's do that. This here should be here. So by doing so, that means that this one can go away or be replaced by something else. What something else can we have? If we're on the hub, you have all the elements that you need. You have Spotify, you have the chat that is somewhere. I have logo, metrics, chat callouts, all that shit. Nothing different here. Nothing really different here. I guess can get rid of this. So if we were to say the camera is this big, on this section, Spotify is taking a lot of space. Like Spotify cannot be bigger than this element. So, I mean, cannot be. Not great if it is. So, let's get rid of that, get rid of that. And then here, let's get rid of this. Let's put that on top. Let's put that here. Make that feel. Then put what I'm thinking is we could have a block that is basically what I have here, right? So camera, Spotify, right? Placement type of things in order to keep the layout a bit interesting, and so that way we can get rid of this one and maybe align the metrics right here, or I mean align the metrics with the height of the element of 150 and then putting it on top. That way we have like a weird shenanigans. So you create a color, like you get a feel right here, you create a color, and then you just go into the color style and you add a new style. And so the way that it works is once you have created something that is a reusable style, it will always be available in this section right here. And so right now I have the basic elements. If I go into another,
Ricky's_Sonny is now following.
Ricky's, hi, welcome on in. How are you? Who are you? How did you find the stream? Thanks a lot for following. Appreciate it. If I were to go on something different, this person shouldn't be on the file at this time of day. Do I have a file that would have something? Yeah, something like this one, for example. I have a weird pain in my shoulder. So in here, for example, if I were to create a color and I select a color, you can see, and you can't see shit right now, but you can see I have way more. And so you can define as many as you want as long as you organize them correctly. You can have access to 1.5 tons of color this one is linked to my entire company, and so that's why it's useful. And here it's just linked to the file. So you can get a lot of things. And so the way that it works in slates, so that's something that I defined on myself, is I have pre-selected some colors for elements in order to make sure that when I'm creating the slate, I'm always knowing what element should be where. So for example, captures are always blue on my designs, camera is always red, Spotify is always the Spotify color, chat is always the electric green, and metrics and content is always white. White or yellow depending on how many colors I have used. But that way, when I'm arriving on one of my slates, I'm like, okay, so you have your camera here with Spotify behind it, you have the capture in the background, there is chat right here or chat right here, makes sense. If I go in another slate, you have the same thing, camera here, chat. There is a purple thing that doesn't exist anywhere else, which is the alerts. It was defined with Pot, but then we moved them around. And there is the blue thing, which should be white, but sometimes we change stuff around. But the basic of my placements and the basic on the color is always the same. So everything that is red or raspberry is the camera, everything that is green right here is the chat, everything that is white here are the backgrounds because I didn't create anything else, and the yellow are just accents. So by doing that this way, I get focus on the layout instead of being focused on the content. And it's specific to this project, I will say. But that way, by focusing on the layout, I can think about how things should be placed rather than how they should look. And because I know that I will do the main design directly inside of OBS to make sure that like the corner are rounded and the thing are cropped correctly. By the way, this one is not cropped correctly. All that shit will be done inside of OBS. Then I don't really think too much about it. I don't know. That makes sense to me. We said that earlier yesterday. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. As always, I never know if that's good enough. I do when they are useful. Otherwise, I don't. So right now, they are called raspberry, white, black, blue, e-blue for electric blue, purple, green, seal, which is cyan and teal combined, acid for acid green, and yellow. Because right here, they don't have a purpose. I'm sorry, colors, you don't have a purpose. Yeah, these colors don't have a purpose. But on other files where it's a client file or a company file, colors are named with their purpose rather than their colors. Let me explain. If you have your sad color noise, yes. Let's say, can I do that? Okay, so let's say you create a button, right? You have created a button in your UI and you call it purple button, right? Because it's the purple button. So far, so good. That makes sense. You do your entire thing, and then a year from now, there is a new brand designer coming to the house and says, I think our brand color should be green, right? We should use like a green for our brand color rather than a purple. And now every dev who have created the buttons call them purple button because they were called purple buttons. And you on the design file, you will just have to change the color. So far so good. But the name of the thing would be called purple button. And you will have a purple button called being green. So let's say you leave the company and another designer takes over, they will find a button called purple button being green. Makes no sense. So I'm using purpose for colors. So instead of calling it purple, I will call it primary. So it's primary button or primary color button. And so that means if at any point we decide to move from purple to green, then the primary color is not purple anymore, it's just green, but it's still a primary button and it still behaves the same way. So color have purpose unless they are meant to be used as color. And so that's why in the community which is available here if you want to buy it, I plug myself from time to time. You get access to pre-made like color palettes, and so the base, your base color or your brand one are your primary, secondary kind of things, and then you have colors that are made and named by their usefulness or usage. So we have the action color, pending, warning, success, error, and then you have something that are more for light and dark taints, shades, opacity, and then everything that is color for the sake of colors are named with the name of the color. So yellow, orange, all of that. But the color that have a purpose have specific names, and then the one that are unclassifiable, like light and like white light, blacks, not really classifiable because you will have a darkest, like, yeah, a dark and a light probably in your design. So that's the there is way to name colors, but a lot of people are using names that makes no sense, like some people will say if it's a purplish blue, you should call it lavender blue. It makes no sense. To me, it makes no sense. I have more of pragmatic brain for that, where I'm like preferring to think further than just today. I was reading an article. I might have shared it earlier. Let me see. Design process? No, probably not. That seems to be far away. Inspiration? I shared a thing that was really interesting and I was like, it could be good. Could be good. Reading list, no. Resources, maybe. No, not in resources, right? Inspiration, that's what I just did. Reading list, potentially. I think it might be this one. Might have been this one as well. I think it's this. Let me see. Is it him who named his thing weirdly? No, I don't think. Yeah, that's what I'm pushing for, basically. like this makes no sense, this makes sense. To me at least now. But I think, yeah, it's this guy. This guy, I shared it, but I absolutely don't agree on how to name your colors. But like this, for example, are used in a lot of companies as base. So positive red or loyal blue or cardboard tan makes absolutely no sense to anyone who arrive on the thing. It's just, all right, it will be blue or it will be a cardboard color. Nino, welcome back. Like this makes no sense, but there are things in what he says that is pretty interesting. And so specifically the semantic naming, which is what I use most of the time. So primary, secondary, info, warning, all of that shit, which makes sense in context. But in, they have like, in the TLDR at the end, they say I recommend like a combination of both, of course. But yeah, it's like to name colors, really, it's a big debate. I will always say name them not based on color if they will be used differently. You have opinions? Yeah. I think naming a blue that will be used as a primary color is not a good idea, and naming a green that will be used as a green is a good idea. As green, like. So I'm more on the semantic side, but yes, give your opinion. I would love that, as always. As always. I know you're typing a big ass message as always. Take your time. So yeah, I'm more on the semantic side. So that's one article. Also, this one is pretty good. So I will just paste it in the chat. Yes, that's true. That is true. That is absolutely true. My mistake. Functional colors, then. Functional. I think the contextual naming is also similar in a way. But yeah, that's a mistake on word on their side. But at least that's better than this. Like Daredevil orange. Daredevil is red, not orange. Like if the Daredevil was specific color here. Probably. I wouldn't though. I don't think a brand needs cementing colors. I mean, semantic naming of colors. I wouldn't recommend it. And then there is this. That's, even though I rant about it often. I don't follow the thing. Don't follow the thing. But yeah, I really think like having the way that I mean, I'm biased as always. The way that I organize colors by the lightest is 10, the darkest is 90. So it's very similar to the 100 to 1000 by Material Design, which installed this type of thing. That just got rid of a 0 because I don't go to 1000. 1000 is always black, makes no sense. And then subcategorizing with like communication colors, This is the action color. This is the pending color or palette with the different tint and shades. And 50 or 500 is always the one that you use the most. And then 90 is on certain use cases, and 10 is on certain use cases. And then 20 is almost never used, other than while hovering. But I've never understood the color palettes or the people who create color palettes that are entirely, damn, that's a lot of space. And like, can I do colors right there? Carbon design might have something interesting. So when you have all of these, right, for your red, you have your red 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. If you tell me that the differences on the 100 are useful, I don't believe you. I think here I would go with 80, 60 as my base because it's bright enough but good enough to have contrast with white most of the time, and then 30 and 20. Makes more sense. I don't know. I'm looking for a specific thing that I can't find at the moment for no reason. This guy or girl, this person. Yeah, this is the same thing. And this is material, so it's like kind of more used. There is too many. There is too many to choose from. It makes no sense. Too much choice give you a lot of inconsistency. Like, let's say you have two team of designers and there is a miscommunication on the specific hue that hue or value that they need to use. And then the set of designer will use the 10 and the set of designer will use the 20. And then they will not even see the difference. Like let's say someone is using the blue and someone is using light blue in 20 or in 50. Right? I mean, I can see the difference, but if I'm paying attention, if I'm not paying attention, I'm not really much seeing the difference. So if one set is using blue 50 and one set is using light blue 50 because they just remember blue 50, the first one, and they said light blue 50, then when the devs are arriving, they will do something with a bit of an inconsistency in the thing. But yeah. I mean, naming a color after a color, if it's used as a color, is why I'm okay with it. But if it's used differently, then nah. I think you are more on the contextual use case, right? The thing that I don't like with the contextual naming is you end up with a ton of different styles, even though it's the same color. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Like, it's a very sketch mindset, right? So you would create a specific style, and that would make sense, but you would do, let's say for your buttons, you would have a button primary default, and then a button primary hover, and a button primary active, and a button primary focus, and then a button primary disable. That would be your tokens. And so it makes sense in terms of contextual, but if you do, and so far I closed the right file, sadly. Let me see if I can re-find it in my sea of stuff. I'm sure it's somewhere in all these, but just, it's there. I did that not so long ago, so you don't think about it too much. What I did was this. I created a framework, a basic framework that says you use the 50 in the background, you use the white as the text. While hovering, you use the 20 in the background, you still use the white, so the accessibility disappear, and then on click you still use the white, you use the 90, which is darker, and if you are focusing on the keyboard, because it's usually, if you focus on the keyboard, it's usually said to you auditively. You don't really need the accessibility in vision usually, but right. And then you just have the outside being spoken. Yeah, thank you. These are buttons, and this is the way that I use the colors. And so by having this presetted, then I don't have the reference of the Georgina. Nino. Oh, well. Interesting. I learn something every day. But yeah, if you have, I believe if you have this as a guideline, right, to explain the behavior of the colors on a specific element rather than having a contextual color style, I think that makes more sense. I mean, that makes more sense to me. And that way, because all of my colors are using the 10, 20, 50, 90 as their names, that means you just need the base variable to be assigned to the element to then get the color that you need. So for example, like if we were to say the thing that is here, instead of being blue, it's in warning, right? You would get the warning set, and you just use the appropriated colors. Right? I mean, warning is a bit of an exception, there because the accessibility on the default is inexistent. But you get the idea. You get the idea. Getting this system made helps a lot. So Jeff, I hope that helps on the how to name colors. Took me a bit to explain, but yeah, I hope that helps. Okay, just destroy my fingers. Do you still have a question? If you still have question, or if there are things that I didn't understand, like explain, then yeah. Then I have a good head out. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks a lot for being here and looking. I appreciate you. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Which, by the way, before you go, next one is on Monday. Monday is an off work day, so that means the stream will start around 2:30 p.m. UTC, so 3 for us French. A bit earlier. We'll start a bit earlier, which will give us a bit more time to do stuff. We'll see what we do, if we do stuff. But yeah, have a good rest of your day, nonetheless. I'm just freaking out for no reason. I don't know. Interesting. But yeah, Jeff, what are you missing? What am I missing in terms of color that I haven't explained that you would like to know? If there is something, please tell me. If there is nothing, then I might go to sleep. I don't know. Oh yeah, it's late on your side as well. Oh, good. Then while you are trying to formulate a question, I will go pee. I'll be right back. Game not found. I just came back. you can see. And yeah, welcome on in. You've been here before. And CRH Studios, welcome back. It seems to be another account. It's interesting. It's like it's saying that it's your first message in the channel, which makes no sense. But yeah, error. Welcome. Welcome. Jeff, did you find a way to formulate your question? How have you been, Error? It's been a bit. I think it's been a week and a half, maybe, or something, since the last time I've seen you here. But yeah, welcome on in. I was about to talk about it. Can you see the reflection of my screen in my glasses? It just absolutely disappeared. That's the ND filter. It still doesn't do anything for this fucking bright light, but at a specific angle it works. So the reflection of my screen is absolutely annihilated, fucked. So can you use context to name colors or properties of the color itself to name it? So contextual naming is useful to be faster when you use specific things, but I don't like it, but you can. And properties of the color itself, maybe. I'm thinking if you define the luminance of your colors and you add this in the name, potentially yes. Which is basically what material design is doing with the 50, 100, 200, 300, all that. Basically, like darkness changes. So let's say you use colors for colors, right? So what I have here, this accessible palette, this side, no more, no less, right? This is color for color. They are named by their colors. So far, so good. And you could, going on Nino's side with contextual naming, you could have design tokens for the colors specific to these colors. So what I mean by that is, let's say my yellow, or specifically my orange, it's the same, okay, fine, forget about it. Let's say my yellow is also my warning. So you could have your element here and then a list of tokens that could be used for this specific yellow. So if I was to do this in a certain way, you could have warning dash, probably label, or you know what, badge dash underscore. I use underscore, that's me. warning. Let's go background. So this would probably be used for the badges warning background, and then it could also be used for button subtle, which is another type of button that we have, and it might also be used for something else, right? So you get the tokens linked to the color. That could be useful. Yes, that is true. That is true. I can't deny that. But the but that just I will deny it. No. I can't deny that the non-semantic contextual naming give a lot of leeway into what you can do with the color, and then maybe someone gets back to you later on and says you shouldn't have used this color here. It's not meant to be used here, right? It makes a lot of sense. The thing that happens most likely, and that's different, that's mainly on the designer-developer relationship, but if your dev is not able to see the thing in Figma, specifically in inspect, click on an element and see that it's using this value and not apply the thing that they should be applying, that's on them. Then if a designer, however, is creating a thing, and instead of using the error alert thing here, and they decide to go with, let's do that here. So right now we are using the communication success. Let's say they decided to go with the other teal because it looks better than the communication success, right? When you look both of these tags, this one is success, this one is just teal, and so that's a mistake on the designer side. But that's why I have like a semi contextual naming convention. I'm using damn it, we have too many stuff in here. I'm using semantic when it's contextual when it's useful. So communication is, brand or primaries, and communication for when it's used for communication. Otherwise the rest are used for colors. So if you need to highlight the thing in a specific color, then you pick the color. And by creating, and that's also on me, by creating a system that is well rounded or rounded enough for understanding which color to use and when, you don't usually have the issue of not having some rules. The rules are set rather than said when you need to use something, right? The reason why I'm not using contextual colors in my styles is because I don't want to have to scroll through 5 pages. I'm saying 5 pages with like 50 scrolls of all that shit on the side to find the specific use case, right? If I'm on a button, which is the usual example that I take, it's the same thing for the text. Maybe you have onions on that as well. But some people will say the text on the button should have a style called button text instead of display 16, which makes sense, but it makes no sense to me. It's like I want to limit the amount of thinking that I need to do while still giving me the liberty or the freedom to do everything that I need to do. CRH, yes, coolers is great. Like, I want my styles to be that simple. That's one of the reasons why I have no specific contextual naming for stuff. I just know that if you name your thing, your text styles paragraph 16, well, then you know that you will always use it as a paragraph. But also, if you know that your website is only using 16 for text blocks and paragraphs, then you don't need to have this distinction, right? Makes no sense. So, I don't know. Yeah, so color and text styles, that's sketch stuff. Yeah. So that means if you define your buttons EM size, it will also impact your font. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. On my side, it's a bit different. It's way simpler. I have two font sizes. I have the 16 and the 14. That's all. And we never have something else. So if we're using the big buttons, it's the 16 fonts. If we are using the small buttons, it's the 14. What's the difference between the usual type scale? I don't know. I don't know about this one. Fluid? I mean, calculator works. Yeah. Yeah. I got it. EM would be amazing. I hope the announcement of Figma next month would be giving us a bit more flexibility in the values we can pick. So, for example, percentage or EM or things like this, like VH, like FH for frame height could be very, very interesting. Parent frame sizes. That's kind of what I'm expecting as well. So you are basing your scale on the viewport width and height. I mean, viewport width in order to get... Okay, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I can't with this. I mean, that makes no sense. That's will always never work for me. It's you can't display on a screen 0.36 pixel. It makes no sense. You can't have like a 36th of a pixel. No, you either have a full pixel on like you have a pixel, you don't have a pixel, but you don't have in between. That doesn't exist. Like some of the example that I share from time to time is like, no, I'm using EM, but my EMs are still rounded to the right amount. So my one EM is 16 pixel basically, and so then they use 0.5 for 8. It doesn't happen often, but yeah, that's how things works. We just round the thing to make sure that it's accessible, because let's say you have like a 12. I mean 12 is a bit. This is 16, and then there was 15.36, right? That's the difference in between the two. So if I activate pixel view, one has the more, I mean both of them right now, because the scale is pretty close, are very similar, but there is a bit more blur right here and a bit more blur right here for both of them. I don't know, it just feels weird to me. I don't know. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for using both of your accounts. Both of your devices. But yeah, take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. I don't know, I have issues with Pixel because Pixel doesn't exist for real. Like nothing makes sense. Like I don't know if we could potentially create a new technology that would display things without pixels. I mean, it is defining pixel because at the end of the day, the thing that you are representing is probably being shown on screen or projector, which display pixels. So you're calculating pixel values rather than having fixed pixel values, fixed pixel values. I like the EM for the accessibility side of things. That's the only reason why I love them. It's the flexibility of having the ability to give your user the possibility of seeing more stuff. Yeah, but the thing that makes no sense to me is when you're looking at this, like let's say the top one, like the step 5, it's 73.24. 73.24 pixels on a quad retina display is like nothing, and on an old CRT TV it's like fucking big, because it was a 70 point. So, right, makes sense. But the calcul that you're doing here, if I do understand them correctly, like you are, I mean, it's now totally misleading units. Yes, like it makes no sense nowadays, because this one is a huge retina display, which is, I mean, I can see the pixel if I'm really looking at it closely, but kind of no. And this one is a 1080 display. I can see the pixel from here. And then I have the 34-inch, which is a 1080 display, but it's wider. And same thing here. So, yeah. It is not really for anti-aliasing. Anti-aliasing is just weird. Still. It made sense in the 72 DPI, I guess, because most of the things that were created were based on that, and the what I was about to say, the outcome was only available on a 72 DPI display, right? Like, you wouldn't have the technology to display on less, I mean less, yes, but more, I mean no, not less, less or more DPI wasn't a thing that existed. So yeah, not happening. So I think it was okay, but difficult. What the fuck, my mic is just picking up everything right now. Now it's clean. Okay, good. So yeah, I mean, if we had just one type of worldwidely adopted tech for the screens, and that every screen was using the exact same thing, then okay. But other than that, difficult. Like, very hard to say yes, it makes sense to have this working. I don't know. I don't know. It makes sense. Yeah, I have no clue. Wait a second. Yeah, so that was a derail on font style naming based on context, which I think is not useful at my level. But I mean, on a designer standpoint, it's not useful. On a developer standpoint, it's very useful. Let me be clear there. Like, the designer in itself doesn't need to I mean, yeah, that's okay. That's a good way of putting it. It's a good way of putting it. This is a designer-oriented style presentation, right? That's what used to be pretty good. Do I have always? I mean, they need to be formed at some point, right? So either form them. Let me see. Do I have the thing? Do I have the thing? I don't think I do. And as always, because I don't name my files, I didn't name my files at the time, I am lost. Is it this one? Let's see. I'm scared. Now, if I had the update pop in, that means it's not this one. Did I make it on the Sketch versus Figma thingy? I might have. That's wire. Wire is a different thing. That's a key thing. Yeah. So I'm looking for a specific. I'm looking for a specific file. That might be this one. That's the old version. We used to have a very square-ish. Oh damn, that's great. That is great to see the differences between what I used to do and what we have now. That's a good update. Yeah, that's the thing that I was looking for. So, this is Sketch importing of the styles that I used to have in the entire style guide that I'm using now. And so this, because you could have or needed to have the text file, the text style with the colors, you had a tile and a half of the same thing. And because you couldn't define their placement, so a line right, a line left, you needed to define them before. So this is contextual naming of all the use case of all the text style that you needed to have, right? And so I went from this amount of defined thing to this. I mean, it wasn't a mess. It was well organized inside of the sketch file. But still, like when you see the color thingy, which is basically the same thing, because you needed to yeah, so it was like a lot of work. Yeah, I did the presentation. It was not this one though. Yeah. So this is a good example, I guess, of what happened and like what was and what changed. So what was a lot of content, what changed, not a lot of content. And so it's easier, it was easier to navigate, at least, and pick. And the way that Figma is working is way more interesting to me rather compared to Sketch, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. It still work? Let me see. I don't know if it still works. It did. Yeah. Yeah, that's... I like this. I like this presentation. That makes a lot of sense. The part when you come from this to this, that makes sense. And so now, going on a tangent right now, the way that I'm naming my things is based on their properties on text. So Jeff, your question was, can you name colors based on their property? I would say probably not the property of the color, the use case, yes. And for text, I'm naming based on the property because it's easier to manage for anyone. Like, as a dev, you are in inspect and you click on the thing and you see that it's 18, right? I mean, not 18, but like, you see it's like display 14 medium. That means it's the 40.14 pixel height with a line height of 20. And so you know that, and you just add the display, the display 14 medium, which is here. And that's done. And the dev can know that, and the designer just need to select the size of the font that they need to have. The thing that I should have done, and I didn't, was to name them with the EM inside of them. So I might. Currently they are named XXL because some of the dev needed that. I should have also the EM, REM values next to them, just to make sure that it's the right thing. But yeah, this shit is just so easy to use. I'm biased here, right? Very biased. But yeah. Damn it, clicked the wrong button. Biased because you can buy this. But yeah, I feel like the headache of Sketch, and the headache for designers at least, of creating or naming the things based on their use cases when the thing is used in more than 5 places means that you need to duplicate your style, and then you need to not use the style specified. Like, let's say you are using button text inside of an input because it's the same size. If you don't pay attention, it's the same thing. So unless you click on the style, you don't know. So that's something that happens in Sketch often. Used to happen in Sketch often, where we had button text used inside of an input because it's the same thing. It's 16, and that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know, now you use the text. So the way it's done specifically here, that makes no sense because I'm using Inter for everything. But on my personal library at my company, we have two different fonts, which are the regular combo of Montserrat and Lato, right? That makes a lot of sense. And so display is for everything that is related to titles, and text is for everything that is related to text. So far, so good. And so if you know that you are on a component like, let's say, I don't know, a model, for example, if you come to me and you say, this is display, it's not display, it's a fucking text. It's not a title. So this is text, and then you just check the values. Text 14, okay, good. So that the dev and the designer knows that this is text 14. And then this is a title. So usually it's display 20 or display something. So this one is 20. And that makes sense. It's just simplifying things. For example, the buttons are displaying. They are like titles, basically. They need to be emphasized. And so everything that needs to be emphasized is display. So this is display 12. A lot of things make sense. I don't know. I think naming contextually, specifically for a use case, makes no sense, or require too much energy to make sense. That's where I would end this fake debate. No, a paragraph is a text type. I mean, a paragraph is just a text line that is longer than one line of text. So you just need to define the properties of the font that you want to use, and that's all. So let's say you're using a 1EM font and your 1EM value is like 16, then your text value or token is 1EM, text / 1EM. And then if it's like a paragraph that takes 20,000 lines, or if it's one line of text, then it's the same thing. In the end, it's the same fucking value. It's the same style. Like if I have to name them differently, that makes no sense to me. Like if I were to do this, and like if I have two paragraphs placed here, medium thingy, like so, right? So if I have this and this, and you tell me that this is a text and this is a paragraph, and I need to have two different styles even though they are the exact same thing, makes no sense. Your property as the thing that are important-ish. Right? I don't know. I feel like if I was doing this and right? All of that is the same thing. It's the same font style. This is a paragraph, this is text, this is a button. They are all using the same values, and then you apply the color values on top of them. Maybe you change the definition of a paragraph and just mean small text. But it's just a different property, right? Like, if you if you change the definition of a paragraph and you call it small text, then it's just this. But this one you call it small text, and this one you call it paragraph, right? But if you change the value of the font that you're using, so basically, let's say you move to this, right, 12 for the font, and then this one, let's move to paragraph like text 14. So that's a paragraph and that's a small text. Can't see shit, but right? The difference, 14, 12. So yeah, it's exactly the same as saying bold 14. It is. And it feels so easy to use rather than thinking about, oh, it's a paragraph, so I need to use the paragraph just text style, and then like you use something different and it makes no sense. I don't know. Like if you change the property, I mean, changing a definition of something that is already used and overused across businesses is not a good idea inside of your company. So like, it's like if you change the definition of a paragraph, it's basically the same as me telling you that this is blue. I mean, if you are colorblind, maybe, but I typed red right here. That RED gave me this, and damn it, right? If I'm giving you this and I'm telling you this is red. In our company, this is called red. That makes no sense. That's nonsense. So like redefining paragraphs, that makes no sense. Just if it's a text value, you take the value of the properties of the text that you want to showcase, and that's all. You know, the scientific words, you know, I don't understand them. I can't pronounce epistemological. Epistemological? I don't know what that means. I mean, it sounds... I know epistemology, not epistemological. Yeah, epistemology I know, but epistemological is logical is epistemology. Brain. Oh, you made a typo, okay. That's why. Epistemological. Okay, that makes sense then. Yes. All of that to say yes. I agree with you. I wish more designers were aligned in the behavior that we expect from stuff, and that's why I'm here. Aligning designers, that's the goal. Not really, but that's an outcome. It is an outcome. Damn, losing blood on my right leg. I don't know. I don't know. You know what? Yes, let's do that. I will send you to Ken. I have never sent you to Ken, so I'll send you to Ken. Damn it. Bottom right keyboard. Do you think it looks like an eyedropper? Well, it's a bit reversed, but yeah, I get it. So I have never sent you to Ken, so let's go to Ken. Kenevo, who is creating robots, and as an AI that scan the room. So yeah, join me for the raid. I appreciate that. We highly appreciate it. And if you haven't followed the channel yet, please click the follow button. We don't need subs, but we need follows. So please do that. Join the Discord if you want. Follow the social medias. Buy some merch, as in UI kits and NFTs. If you're a sub, this is the raid message for subs. If you're non-sub, this is the raid message for non-subs. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, a wonderful weekend. As a reminder, I will see you on Monday. Monday is an off work day, meaning that I start the stream earlier. I don't know exactly at what time, but earlier. That's the goal. And take care of yourself. I see you on Monday. Eat something, drink something, all that. Bye. We'll see you soon.